everyone. We're happy to have you here today again for this pre-departure webinar for Tuscany FAM Italy 2018. Before I turn the program over to Ian Scott, I have just a few housekeeping notes. First, please remember to place your phone on mute and refrain from placing the call on hold to avoid any background noise or unnecessary interruptions. Second, we have reserved some time at the end of this webinar. If you have any questions, please ask them using the question function in the webinar access panel. The question box is in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Just type in your questions and we will read them aloud. Third, this webinar will take no longer than an hour. It will be recorded and the link will be emailed to attendees. Ian Scott is the General Manager of Aventura World by Central Holidays West. Over the years, Aventura World has been a reliable and trusted partner of ACCE. ACCE's leadership values the relationship which we have built over the years and have themselves participated on many of Aventura World trips. And we are looking forward to this one as well. And now, here's Ian Scott.
Thank you, Tinja, for inviting me here today. And thank you all for spending some of your busy day with me for this pre-departure meeting. I am looking forward to seeing you all at JFK at the end of this month and traveling along with you to Tuscany. Now, the aim of this pre-departure presentation today is to prepare you for the adventure in front of you. I know many of you are extremely well-traveled, so my aim is not to go through everything in your packet, which I believe you received this past Monday, but just to go through what we class as the most important information contained within. So in a moment, off we go, and we will start discussing what points of that information that you have with you. You don't have to have the packet open. We've got lovely pictures of each document that you are in possession of, and we'll just go through, as I mentioned, through the most important sections. So off we go. So inside your packet was, and it is the strongest bonding envelope I've ever come across. It can often take the strength of a weightlifter to open that envelope, but once it's open, inside there you'll find a black ticket wallet. Inside there, e-tickets, general information sheet for travel, hotel and air listing sheet, a day-to-day schedule, destination sheet on Tuscany, evaluation forms and optics for rent, and travel insurance, luggage tags, and name badges. Let's start with those green ones at the bottom and discuss. For those people who took out trip insurance with us, you will find a business card in one of those clear plastic windows on the left-hand side of this ticket wallet. When you open it up on the inside left, you'll find that. You will find the collect number from within the United States, the toll-free number from within the United States, and a collect worldwide number listed on this little business card. The picture that I'm showing here is the front and back of that business card. You'll find the plan code, the producer's number, and such things as that. We certainly hope you all took out trip cancellation insurance, whether it's with us or with another entity, but we hope you all wasted your money on it. You're not going on this trip to use insurance, and I certainly hope none of you need to use it. But it's the time you don't take it out is the time you historically need it. So that's it's a little white business card. We have blue luggage tags. They're virtually indestructible. I think the baggage handlers at JFK or in Rome airport could have had a really tough day, and they could take it out on these luggage tags, and they wouldn't make a dent on them. Extremely sturdy. There's two. One for your checked luggage to go underneath the aircraft, not to exceed 50 pounds. And one for a carry-on piece of luggage. Now, you're allowed one piece of luggage to go underneath the aircraft and something like a backpack, a hold-all, something like that, or and a personal item. So this second one would be for your backpack or that hold-all or something such as that. Next, we have our name badge and lanyard. This, again, is a lovely, sturdy piece of travel. It's a travel item, but very, very sturdy, and it'll last for quite some time. It's designed for a couple of things. It's designed to be blue, like our luggage tags, so that people can see it. And who do we want to see it? We want our tour directors to be able to see both of these items. There are some people out there, myself being one of them, very frank, don't like to wear name badges. But, including myself, we need to wear our name badges when we leave the airport, so that when we come out into the common area of the airport, our tour director can recognize us. They can say, oh, there's the blue of the luggage tag, and there's the blue of the name badge. So when we exit Florence International Airport, our tour director is looking for these items. So please do make sure you're wearing them. We don't put your name on there. We only deal in your official passport name, and some people don't even use their official passport name. So once you get a little bit of free time, drop your name on there. You can be whoever you would like to be on this trip. As long as you can pull that name off, you can be as whoever you'd like to be. And drop your name on that white card inside. You also find as you open it up, there is a lovely section in there for your passport, maybe some other items. Safe place to keep your passport. It has a lanyard around that it'll go around your neck. You can tuck this. Once we've gone through and the tour director has seen us, we can tuck it back in our shirt, t-shirt. It's hidden away, and your passport is pretty safe in there. So it's a great way to protect your valuables too, and it is passport size. Most passports, not just US passport too. As we continue on, let's talk a little bit about some other things. The airline schedule. And now there's a few things in your documentation in regards to airlines. We are traveling Alitalia, the national airline of Italy. And we are leaving JFK at 10 minutes before 10 in the evening. Arriving into Rome, connecting in Rome, we've got just under 2 hours connection time in Rome, arriving to Florence at 2:50 in the afternoon. So this is something on this particular screen. It shows this document, a white document. It's shall we say, a harvest gold or a yellow document inside your document packet. There are some important things on here. It does indicate about the luggage. It does indicate, and it gives the telephone number and the website of Alitalia, should you need to talk to Alitalia before you depart. It also has, of course, the return trip from Florence to Rome, Rome back to New York, JFK. This is a great document to leave behind with friends, family members, somebody who's looking after the dog or the cat, so that they can know where you are and what your flights are. Now, also, as we come through, there's something that looks like a ticket. We are traveling on e-tickets, so there isn't anything in this document pouch that cannot be lost. It's only paper. But this thing looks like a ticket and it feels like a ticket, but it isn't. It's still an electronic ticket. This golden document, the piece of the A4 paper that I just showed you a moment ago, comes from us, and it's made to, so you can see things on one sheet of paper kind of easy. This thing that looks like a ticket comes directly out of the airline reservation system. And we have so much of this paper left, we we're using it and we give it to you. So nobody prints tickets any longer. So we've got to get rid of all this paper. But it does bring forth details and a few more details on your air passage that our sheet does not. It tells us what type of aircraft we're using. It tells us how long, it actually states how long that flight is. Unless the pilot gets lost, for example, from JFK to Rome, it's going to take 8 hours, 15 minutes. It then tells us what type of aircraft we are using from Rome to, Florence. And it also indicates if meals are being served, for example. As we go through to the, and please, one thing that I would like to ask you, and you don't need to bring this into the question period, you can email me or our staff at the info at Aventura World email address. But please, before you finish the presentation or when you go home tonight, take a look at the bottom left-hand corner of this document, this ticket document. You'll see your name. Please, we do our best, and we do our best to decipher handwriting. Is that an I? Is that an E? Is that a Z? Whatever it is, we try our best to get the name right. And we have additional safeguards with your invoicing saying, is your name correct? If it isn't right, please use the name change form attached and tell us what your correct name is. So a last check to say, is your name right? Now, if you have a super long name, there might not be enough space in this document to put your long name here. So it might be abbreviated. If you want full clarification of it, still let us know and we'll let you know if it's okay. But it should be okay if you've got that really long name. It happens a lot. If your middle name is not there, don't worry too much about it. Alitalia doesn't require middle names for their tickets, but sometimes it may be there. But mine, for example, is Ian David Scott. There's only Ian Scott on my ticket, and so don't worry too much about it. As we go through to the back page of this document that looks like a ticket and feels like a ticket, you will see a green circled area here. There are some pre-printed sections to this ticket, and then there's some printed sections that gets overlaid on the ticket. Sometimes the print gets overlaid over letters and pre-printed sections. But if you come to this section, you'll see something that says PNR code. A PNR code is the locator that the airline uses to find you in their system. If you need to talk to the airline, you will give them the PNR code. And in my case, it's IKTSFX/AA. So you'll be able to see it indicated in this document under this circled section. There's a whole host of airline jargon which means nothing to us, which we don't need, but if the airline needs it for their ticket. But really, the PNR number is the only thing that we need. Now, JFK, November the 25th. I will be at JFK, Terminal Number 1. That's where Alitalia goes, in front of the Alitalia counter from 5:50, maybe a little bit beforehand, but at 5:50. I'll have my little notice board, and I'll be trying to find as many of you as possible. Some of you might have come in a little earlier. Some of you might have already checked in. My cell phone is right there, 760-212-0779. Please make note of that. If I don't see you, or if you're running behind schedule, or something's happening, let me know. Because I'm looking for you to make sure that you're here and to make sure you're going to catch this flight at 10 minutes to 10 in the evening. So if I don't see you, I'll be leaving this counter probably about 2 hours before, 90 minutes before the plane departs to go through customs, go through TSA and immigration. If I haven't seen you by that time, please text me. Or if you check in and decide to go to the bar, text me, check in early, decide to go to the bar, just give me a shout and let me know you're here so I know you're there. Okay, on the back side of the airline document, again, that yellow document is our hotel. Again, a nice piece to leave behind with friends, family members, and we're staying at the Principe Hotel, the Tuscany and Principe Hotel. The address is there, the website's there, a little brief description is there too. We do have contact numbers. Our 888 number, should you have an emergency, weekdays, 5 p.m. through till 9 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. But again, my number is indicated there too. And if you're having a problem on Saturday too, you can get hold of me on Saturday. I'm coming into New York the night before, staying in New York, and then I'll be meeting you on the 25th. There is also our partner, which is our office. It doesn't go by Central Holidays or Aventura World. Italian Travel Solutions is our office in Rome. You have their contact and details there. You shouldn't need it because I'll be with you and we'll have a tour director too with you. But there you've got it. Got a lovely picture of the hotel and the location of our hotel. That class is great. It's relatively close to the center, but it's close to the main park where the Roman Spa is situated. Now, the day-to-day. My aim is not to go through the day-to-day plan today. It hasn't changed really. The only thing that's changed is the chamber visit. And I'll discuss that in a moment. But what you'll find, review this at your leisure. I will be with you when we're getting off the aircraft and going through the security area in Florence. But once we get outside into the unsecure area of the general public, we'll be looking for this sign. And our tour director will be looking for your name badge and your luggage tags. And those luggage tags become luminous. Our tour directors love them because they're very bright and very blue. So yes, that's what they're going to be looking for. Please review as we go along. On day 3, there was a change of day 3 because of gaining connections with the Chamber of Commerce. We're going to be visiting with the Montecatini and Pistoia Chamber of Commerce during our stay here. We have it indicated at the bottom. We never know what happens at these events. And it can sometimes be a surprise of who is there at these Chamber of Commerce events. Historically, there's the chamber president. There'll be some executives there. There possibly will be some board members or members there. The dress sense for this day and this day only is business casual. So nice pair of trousers, shirt. If you want to wear a tie, feel free to do so. You don't need to. A sweater or a sports coat for gents. A nice trouser suit or skirt dress for ladies. That's the only dress code we have on the entire trip. The rest, as long as you're wearing clothing, the Italian police will leave us alone. So comfortable, and we'll talk more about dress in a moment and dress sense in a moment. But please look through this. Now, we never really know, again, what dignitaries are going to be at this event. I strongly recommend that you bring 2 to 3 small gifts, either from the chamber or from your hometown. Something that is very, very, yes, your hometown, your home city, as a sign of, as a greeting, and to present to the chamber president, and maybe 1 or 2 of the executives. Often, and again, we can't guarantee it, but often these chamber officials present a gift to us. And it's great to have something to give back in kind. So something, we don't have to have them big. but just something that will be saying, we appreciate you and here's a gift from my hometown. Please review the rest of this document at your leisure. Everything else except the day. We had day 3 with the chamber visit was planned for the day 7, but because of scheduling, it had to move to day 3. The who's are on the trip. We've got a whole host of people, and here it is. I will once I arrive and I can distribute, I will have a list of chamber people and the chambers that they belong to. But we've got everybody's official names right here. So we know who's on the trip itself. We always have fun. We always have great camaraderie on these programs, and I see a whole host of fun and good travelers on this trip. So I'm really looking forward to traveling along with you on this trip. And this is I think this is usually it's a green document, and it is a green document. It's on front and back, the list of travelers. Now, the Tuscany destination page. Front and back again, it's a white sheet with a lovely picture that we're looking at right there, printed on the front. Again, it's for your reference. A couple of things that we're going to discuss is passports. I know when you looked at, to go on this trip, you looked at your passport. I want to have one additional safety check, that when you go home tonight, you go and look at your passport and make sure that it still is valid 6 months after your last day in Italy. Please check it. There's still time. If it's changed since the last time you looked at it, there's still time to get a passport reissued. So 6 months and 2 blank pages left in your passport. Okay? It is important. We often make this comment and we find out that, yes, occasionally there is a passport that's running out. So please do take care of that and make sure. We don't want you to be refused entry at Alitalia in JFK because of this. As we go down this page, we're going to discuss, and let's stop at currency, electrical voltage requirements. Slightly different than in the United States. And I am going to be convinced chamber execs virtually always bring a laptop, an iPad, and definitely a telephone. So you will need to use electricity over there. It is 220, 50 hertz. So it's not 110 as it is in the United States. So it's a little bit more powerful in voltage. So new devices such as iPhones, iPads, and most new computers will have a built-in step-down transformer, which will take the 220 and reduce it to 110. Check your documentation, however, and make sure that it does have that incorporated into it. If it doesn't, you will need a step-down transformer. They can be purchased at Staples, Target, Amazon, and any other online retailers. You will for sure need an adapter, which is going to take the plug, the European plug, and adapt it for the US 2-pin plug. Both the step-down transformer, and the adapter can be purchased at those vendors. Between $10 and $15 for all the adapter plugs in the world, not just Europe, Singapore, Australia, South America, they'll have them all in one piece. And that step-down transformer, $15 each, well worth purchasing. Please make sure that you have it there. On the opposite side of this document, we do a wondrous job bringing the history of Italy down into two paragraphs, would you believe? I think there's a little bit more than that, but as we go through, and on the opposite section, we talk about the geography and Tuscany. Currency. If you are one of those people that's going to feel naked to arrive in Italy without euros, I am convinced that no matter where you are in the United States, you will have a bank very close to you that will stock the euro. I don't recommend collecting more than 100, 150 euros per person in advance and bringing it along with you. But round about that is what I would recommend. Some banks charge, some banks do not charge for international currency. We are in a member of the European community. You'll find ATMs everywhere. So I'm not overly concerned, but if you want to walk into Italy and have euros immediately, do get them in advance. Don't forget, we've got about 2 hours in Rome. Maybe grab a cup of coffee, a slice of cake, whatever. You might need some euros for that. Exchange offices at airports, you always get an atrocious rate, so keep that in mind. But credit cards are accepted, ATM cards are accepted. Visa, American Express, Discover, leave at home. MasterCards are allowed. Nobody knows what a Discover card is in Europe, so leave it at home, as well as your Sear card and all those things, your Amazon card and all that. No need to put it in your wallet. If you are going to be using an ATM and you're going to be using a credit card, please call the credit card company, the ATM card company, before you depart on the trip, so that they know one day you'll be charging in the United States, the next day you might be charging in Rome, in the United States, and the last thing we want is them to think, the credit card company to think that somebody's stolen your identity and they're charging away. Tipping is not as widespread as it is in the United States. It's starting to get there, but for good service, 10 to 15% max. But around about 10% for non-included meals is what you would tip. Most of the time, the credit card machine doesn't have the ability to sign a tip to. So you might have to tip in euros on top of the credit card amount. Please do keep that in mind. Now, next one here, we have a tipping guide for this particular program. We will find another tipping guide, but this one supersedes it. And I'll show you where the other tipping guide is in a moment. But for good service, and we're sure you're going to get good service, for your tour direct, €5 per person per day. For your local driver, €3 per person per day. We should have the same tour director and the same driver for our entire stay. We're going into a union country of Italy. Sometimes it is illegal for our tour director to guide in certain places. So we might have a step on, step off specialized guide. If we have one of those, €3 per person for that tour. We've got some tourist offices, embassies, and some other information after that. As we go to the next section here, and here we are. Currency, as I mentioned, is euro. As of today, and I look today, $1 is 88 euro cents, and €1 is $1.13. So it's a decent rate we've got right now. It's quite an inexpensive Europe at the moment. So yes, it's great for our drinking fabulous Chianti wines and buying gifts and such things as that. And every trip that we go on, Italian shoes. Some great Italian shoes here. The time zone is 6 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time. We've discussed the electricity, the weather. This is a good one. And if I could predict what the weather was going to be, I wouldn't be sat here today in front of you. I'd have won that big lottery jackpot because I would be able to predict the lottery winning numbers. But if we use history as a guide, it should be in the mid-50s, maybe low 60s in the day, dropping down to mid-50s, maybe dropping down to the mid-40s, maybe a low 50s in the evening. I did check before I did the presentation, and that seems to be what the weather forecast is. I strongly recommend, in the form of packing, Layered clothing. Nothing too heavy. We don't need big ski jackets. We don't need huge quilted coats, sheepskins, Uggs, and those types of things. But comfortable clothing, t-shirts, sweatshirts, shirts, sweaters, sweatshirts, hoodies, light jackets, etc. If it's warm outside, the air conditioning will be on the bus, and if it's cool outside, the heat will be on the bus, and we'll be able to regulate ourselves based on taking clothing on and off. I do strongly recommend, however, taking a raincoat just in case we get a little bit of liquid sunshine whilst there. Good, comfortable walking shoes. Rome, or should I say Italy. There are cobblestones, most places. There are uneven roadways, most places. So good, comfortable shoes. Sneakers, Rockports. You might have some of those hybrid walking type dress shoes. Those are great things to take with you and use on the program. We're going for 6 nights. The last thing we need is lost luggage. So let's plan to have lost luggage. And if we plan to have lost luggage, we're never going to get lost luggage. So in your carry-on luggage, please make sure you take a spare pair of clothes, socks, underwear. If you've got room, trousers, a t-shirt, and a sweater. If you have lost luggage, you've already got a set of clothes to change into. If you're traveling with somebody in that room, then put half of your clothes in that person's luggage and have them do the same with your luggage. If one piece of luggage disappears and is delayed, at least you've got 50% of your clothing. If both do, then you can fall back onto one set of clothing, which is in your carry-on luggage. If you plan in this way, you will never have lost luggage. If you don't, there's a chance you have lost luggage. It's just the way of the world. Please make sure you don't pack any medications, however, in your checked luggage to go underneath the aircraft. It's important. And try not to pack any valuables in there too. Make sure they're in your carry-on luggage. Visas are not required for Italy and the European Union, just as a point of reference. But again, just a reminder about that passport again. Coming in, we're nearly getting towards the end and coming into a questions and answers in a moment. This is an official document we've got, and this is our generic travel document. It's white. This is as it looks in your packet. It goes through, again, what's in the packet itself, and then it goes through some various items. Airline seating. We have pre-reserved your seating on the aircraft. Every travel companion or every spouse, husband and wife, wife and husband, traveling companions are seated together. So we've done our best to keep that. Sometimes, however, the airline plays tricks on us and changes them at the airport. So let's arrive early before somebody doesn't have seats together and they start moving our seats to accommodate somebody else. So please make sure you're at the airport a minimum of 3 hours before the flight departs. I know many of you travel a lot, but the longer you wait to check in, the harder it is. And then sometimes you can be refused entry onto the plane because they may have oversold the flight. And please make sure you're there 3 hours before the flight. So that's a little bit about the airline seating. We get into the electronic tickets. We discuss jet lag. I don't want to be a party pooper. We can drink when we get over to Italy, but try your best not to drink too much alcohol at JFK Airport or on the flight. Alcohol promotes jet lag, so does caffeine. I strongly recommend, if you don't have one right now, get some of those scrunchable ear pads. You can get them at Home Depot. You can get them at Lowe's. you can buy 10 pairs for a few dollars. Buy one of those eye patches, either at the airport or at a store, a travel store at home. Get on board, eat if you can. We're getting on the board at 10 o'clock at night. Try and eat before you get on the flight. Even though there is free food there on board, try and eat before you get on board and tell the cabin attendant you may not want that food. That's what I intend to do. As soon as I get on board the flight, I'm going to put my eye patch on, put my ear plugs in, and I'm going to try and get as much sleep as possible. We'll wake up the next morning, breakfast will be served, I'll have something to eat, and if you can do that, you will be on Italian time. Try not to sleep on the Rome to Florence flight, because if you do, you're going to delay getting onto Italian time. As we go through the next page, it talks about name badges. We've discussed that. We have a tour director. The next triangle on the opposite side. Yes, we do have a tour director on this program. Our tour director has forgotten more about this area than we will ever know. They're knowledgeable, gracious, and they're there for our enjoyment and for our assistance. If you've got anything that needs attention, come and see me. Come and see our tour director, and we'll do our best to resolve it. Here's a section which I would like you to put an X through. Gratuities on the program. This is our generic gratuities on the program, and it's superseded by the gratuities on the Tuscany, Italy destination information page. Going on to the next page. This is something I like to address pretty much to the point. The unpredictability of travel. Our programs, we have many vendors. We deal with cultures. We deal with government institutions, with large airlines, small hotels, small bus companies, and small restaurants. And there's an unpredictability to dealing with so many components. But what I want you to do when you get on that flight at JFK, relax, take it easy, and leave the United States behind. And when we arrive in Rome, hopefully refreshed after 8 hours worth of sleep, 7.5 hours worth of sleep, open up into the Italian way of life. Relax, take it easy. If you can do that, you're going to have a wondrous Italian experience. I want you to use the F word a lot. Not the shocking F word that might come to your mind straight away, but the F word for flexibility. If you believe you're going to have enough ice in your cocktail to breed penguins on top of, you're wrong. Because ice, you might get 1 or 2 cubes, if you're lucky, in Rome. Relax, take it easy. Let's enjoy the Italian way of life. And sometimes what is indicated, even on this day today, that's indicated on day 3 might change to day 4. And what's on day 4 might change to day 3 or day 5. Our tour directors and drivers are diligently working with our itinerary to make sure there's no traffic delays, roadworks, lightning strikes, etc., etc. So relax and infiltrate into the community. You're going to have a wonderful time with us. Briefly, and we're nearly done, we've got copy these documents. Please make a copy of your passport. Or if you've got your cell phone, make a photograph of your passport. Make a copy of your credit cards, front and back. If you lose your credit card, you often lose the number to call. If you lose your passport, if you've got a copy of it or a photograph of it, it's so much easier to get one reissued. Pack these items. If you packed all these items, you would be in overage of luggage. But please review them at your leisure. I strongly recommend that step-down transformer for older appliances, your adapter for electrical US plug to European plug. I recommend a small first aid kit, Band-Aids, Neosporin, Advil, ibuprofen, whatever works for you inside there. and then review the rest at your leisure. We've discussed clothing on the trip. Don't forget comfortable casual clothing, except for the business casual for the chamber visit day. Okay. Travel funds we've discussed. Emergency line is there, but my cell phone is indicated again. Cell phones, I know many of you are going to be taking a phone with you, but check with your provider before you leave. The best way is to gain an international data and calling plan. I have AT&T. I am told Verizon is the same, but it costs me $10 a day for the same service that I have at home. So I get all my calling and I get all my data that I have at home. There are lower price plans. If you choose not to do a plan at all and you want to use your smartphone as an alarm clock and a camera, when you get on that aircraft, make sure that you turn your data roaming off. And then it's just a dumb phone, camera, and an alarm clock. And you'll have to change the time on the clock itself. So have a word with your provider on that. Just a couple of other documents. We put this in all documents. I'm sure that nobody will be renting binoculars, but if you're interested in renting binoculars, you can do so through Optics for Rent. Our evaluation sheet at the end. Please, could you give us your evaluation? We love to have comments from you on our trip, and we read every one of them. We make changes based on your suggestions. So if you could fill this out and give it to us, that would be great. I'll see you at JFK. And anybody got any questions for Ms. Tenja?
Hey, Ian. Yes, I actually do have a couple. For one of our attendees, it looks like their name, they have a misspelled name, and she's wondering the best way to go about correcting that.
Just send me an email to Ian, which is IAN at aventuraworld.com, and I'll let you know if anything needs to be done on it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Also, we have someone that is interested in, I believe her name is Peg Fashingbauer. She was wondering if there was any way that you all could go to St. Terre, I believe, which is a couple hours away from northwest of
Cinque
Tuscany.
Terre? To Cinque Terre?
Uh-huh. Yes.
You know, on our standard programs, we do Cinque Terre. Our standard program is a 7-night, 9-day trip. This fam trip is a 6-night, 8-day trip. So there was something that we had to cut out. We do not, and that was Cinque Terre. At this time of year, Cinque Terre is changeable because many of the villages, Cinque Terre is 5 fishing villages on the coast. But that area is changeable at this time period, end of November, beginning of December, and the sea can sometimes get a little rough. So it's a question of which villages can you go and visit. So that's why we did not include it. If somebody wants to go and do that and forego one of the day tours that's included, let us know. Just as long as we're not looking for you, let us know, and it could probably be arranged for you. But that's the reason we did not include it. Next question.
Ian, let's see what else we have coming through here. From Cindy DeWeese, she's asking, can you go over once again the credit cards that are accepted?
Sure. The credit cards that are accepted in this order. Visa and MasterCard equal first. American Express next. Everything else in a US format, Discover and that, leave it at home. Virtually everywhere takes Visa, MasterCard. Some places, like here in the United States, because of the higher commission that American Express charges, some places does not take it. Now, a little different than in the United States, Europe, there's often a charge amount that must be charged to a credit card before you can use a credit card. So, for example, you can't go to the gas station and buy a pack of gum on a credit card like you could here. It's historically between 10 and 15 euros before an entity will allow you to charge on a credit card. It's starting to change a little bit. There might be a deviation to that rule, but historically, that's the rule. It's important to always have euro cash on you just in case.
All right. Now, for another question from Malia McLaughlin. She is asking, she needs to stay in New York after the trip before flying back to California. Do you recommend a hotel or transportation?
Send me an email. I mean, it depends on what you want to do. Around there, there's lots of hotels. JFK doesn't have the nicest hotels surrounding, but they work very, very well. It's a relatively, an industrial area around JFK, but they have everything from the Hilton Garden Inn to the Radisson and such and that, which works really well just for an overnight stay, or you go into the city, and it depends on what your times are. But I can make some suggestions if you send me an email to ian@aventuraworld.com.
Perfect. All right, Ian, that concludes all of our questions. Thank you, as always, for an informative webinar.
Yes.
And it looks like it's going to be an amazing trip. That's for sure.
It certainly is. And looking forward to seeing you all at JFK. Thank you very much.
All right,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar as well. And I will have everything recorded, and I will send it out to attendees in case you need to reference any of the information again. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.